Hello, people. How's it going? This is John Acosta, and I've got Miguel Hernandez here with me. How's it going, Miguel?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be doing this webinar with you. I've done maybe just a couple of other webinars in my entire lifetime, and I always had so much fun, but I never get around to it. So I'm really excited to be here and be able to share some animation and video knowledge with you.
Beautiful. That's awesome, Miguel. In fact, we're excited to have you too. Guys, welcome to How to Create Awesome Demo Videos for Your Business in Under 30 Minutes with me, the host, John Acosta. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of the Content Creators Lounge, and I own a production company in Atlanta, Georgia, and we service all of the U.S. As well as a couple of other countries around the U.S. So I'm here today with my special guest, Miguel Hernandez, and a lot of you guys actually know this guy. He is a brilliant mastermind of animation, and we're going to talk to him a little bit today about how to create awesome demo videos for your business without breaking the bank, without having much of a budget, and without having to learn a bunch of different tools that you don't even know yet to do so. Isn't that right, Miguel?
That's the plan.
So hopefully you guys can walk away with some really great stuff. And today, just to give you a quick agenda, we're going to go through what we're going to talk about in the next 30 minutes. And then from there, we're going to talk about a few questions that you guys have. So the first thing, good versus bad demo videos. Miguel and I have been talking a lot about good and bad video out there for businesses. There's a really great way to do it, and there's also a terrible way to do it. So we're going to be covering those things throughout the seminar here, and then from there we're going to go into a little bit of demo video processes and how you actually create a video, the entire workflow, so you guys can get an idea of all the work that goes into it, and then from there a couple of secret tools that you can use to bypass all of that, because Miguel and I are seasoned professionals in video production and animation, but these days there's so many tools out there now that allow you to do this without having a formal education and without having to go to school for it. It's really great stuff. So Miguel and I will be talking about a few of those. And then finally, a few tips for hiring animators. Which Miguel, you are an animator yourself,
Yeah.
and you're not trying to kill your employment here. But yeah. I think you and I both agree that when people hire animators, there are a few things that they need to be looking out for. And knowing these tips are probably the most important thing for your budget, for your wallet, for your business, and for your video product alone. So you got to know this stuff. And again, Miguel's here to teach you today. So. Yeah. The last thing we'll talk about is the Q&A. You guys have questions, please feel free to type them into the bottom box there that you see. If you're watching this from a Google Hangout screen, you can type them in here as well. We should be able to get to all those questions, or as many as possible, at the very end. Okay, well with that, I did want to quickly apologize for everyone that got the emails about it being 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know what was wrong with me. I must have been just completely out of my mind. So this is my formal apology saying I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed. Dear, that was embarrassing, and I am shame. So, so yeah, I know. God, it was terrible. I was traveling. That's my excuse. I was traveling across coasts, and shit happens.
Yeah.
Anyway. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit real quick before we get into the good stuff. Who is Miguel Hernandez? Miguel, who are you? Why are you so important? Why do we need to trust you with this stuff?
I think so. Well, some of you may know me if you're some of my students. Hello to everybody. You probably see my face taking my courses on Udemy, which I have a bunch of them, and hopefully you enjoy them. And I usually start my courses introducing myself, but just to recap here, I was born in Spain, and I moved to Canada in 1996. So I live between both countries, and my background originally is in mechanical engineering, nothing related to video. But then I transitioned slowly to the world of video and animation as I started discovering 3D animation in the early 2000s, and then I got into video production like John, and I worked on music videos, and eventually I learned about 3D animation, and I really liked the fact that you could just animate anything, entire worlds in 3D. I specialized actually in machinery animation, so it was not like fun animation. The fun animation came later on when I found about the world of demo videos, and I was doing a demo video for my own company, and then I did a video that had a lot of success for Hipmunk, and I started this business doing demo videos for everybody around the world, and I've been doing that since October 2010. So,
And you know what's interesting, Miguel? You don't give yourself enough credit. You tackled that first video, the animation video, in a very interesting and very unique way. I mean, it was brilliant, and that's actually a whole other conversation that we can get into. But just real briefly, I do want to boast about that for you. So Miguel took a concept that he thought this company could use to help fuel their, I think they were a startup, so fueling their entire company was his goal. He liked their service, he saw them, and he realized they needed some sort of a promo video or a demo video to help their brand. So without even calling or asking them, he just straight up he animated this fantastic video that explained what they did without him even asking them or telling them. He produced the whole thing behind closed doors, and then he presented it to them when he was finished and said, "Hey, I made this for you, by the way. I hope you like it." And he didn't, he didn't charge them, he didn't ask them, he didn't have meetings with them. And I think the CEO contacted you like within a few days and said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. How can we help you?"
Yeah.
So that is just brilliant. I mean, that is you giving value to the industry that of your choice, of your choosing, and using your talents and skills to do so. It's brilliant, and I want to congratulate you for that, Miguel. Miguel's a very interesting guy. He's very smart, clearly, and
I mean, there's
have to
a bit of a lack factor, but the reality is that before I chose that company, I spent about 6 months researching startups, right, just to find out what would be the ideal target. So this was a completely thought-out strategy that turned out to be very successful, right? And because I wanted to validate this business, the one of creating demo videos, in the least amount of time with the least amount of investment, and that's what I thought it would work. Just do like a spec video for a company that already had a lot of exposure, and then see if they liked it. I would just leverage their own that exposure. So I didn't have to spend a lot of money on marketing dollars. They basically would do the marketing on my behalf, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm extremely fortunate that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I never thought of doing, even as a producer myself. I've never considered, why don't I tackle a market that needs it and doesn't have it yet? So again, that's a whole other conversation, but it's a hell of a way to go about running a business and going from the bottom to the top immediately. Most people start from the bottom, but you did it different, and I congratulate you 100%.
All right.
So nice work, Miguel.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, now enough about you. Let's talk about video and production. All right, so let's first discuss a little bit about good versus bad demo videos. What's out there? What can we avoid, and what can we try to do best? First, bad demo videos, and let's talk about some common mistakes. Miguel, what's the biggest mistake you see out there in the market?
The biggest mistake, and it's very easy to make this mistake, is that they're too long. People want to put everything about their company in a video, because they're like, we don't want to miss this, and this feature is great, and we also do this and all of that. And reality is the attention span nowadays of people on the internet has decreased dramatically. And so if basically in the first 5 seconds you cannot create someone of an impression, that's it. You lost that opportunity. So my biggest struggle in the last 4 years doing animations was reducing the scripts. Many times customers come with a script written, and when you read it aloud, if it's longer than 2 minutes, and I would say actually 90 seconds, then it's too long. So you have to trim it down. And there's a good rule of thumb. There's about we try to make our scripts between 60 and 90 seconds. That translates to about 180 words to 120 words. If it's longer than 150 words, then you have to figure out how are you going to trim some of those words and distill your message in less time, right? This is specific for demo videos. Other types of videos, like Kickstarter videos, I mean, there's many different types of videos. They can be longer, right? But for in my industry, demo videos that are longer than 2 minutes is like a no-no. So that already makes
that's interesting. So the general rule is between 120 and 180 words, not
correct.
sentences.
180 words and 220. Yeah.
Wow. So you're basically like the Twitter of demo videos. Is what you are. So it seems. Yeah, that's a great rule to follow. I completely 100% agree on that. Stuff's way too long out there. You don't need to fit in your entire executive summary into a demo video.
Yeah.
Right? So good point on that. 120 to 180 words long. That's actually, I've never heard that before, but that's a great way to put it. So.
Yeah, I've seen in other studios mentioning that because it's such an predominant issue with the length that, I mean, anybody that's been producing demo videos for a while figures that, okay, well, we have to put some constraints here. And the easiest constraint is like, okay, make sure that it is around 200 words, just like a round number right there. Right, and then the magic has to happen in those 200 words. Obviously, that's if it's a spoken video where there's narration, right? If there's no narration, then try to keep the visuals within 90 seconds too, right?
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So a lot of time, the 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That's a good sweet spot for most demo videos. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Got it. Okay, so moving forward with bad demo video, common mistakes. Too boring.
Too boring.
Can you define that? Can you define? I mean, that's very subjective. One person might.
So, for example, too long. If it's too long, you would say it's also too boring, but not so. There's a if you're able to keep people entertained for the entire video, even if it's a little bit longer, it won't be a big issue. The problem is that a video can be boring even if it's 60 seconds, believe it or not. Right?
Yeah, if you're watching grass grow or watching flowers grow.
Exactly. So, like I say, from the beginning to the end, every second, every sentence that you write down, it has to have a purpose, and which is to keep people engaged, right? So it's like a movie. It's like it has 3 acts. You begin with the problem that your product is solving. Then you introduce it and explain how it works, and then there's a call to action. And everything has to flow very smoothly and nicely, and every word counts, right?
Right.
So people pay attention, right? And this seems like obvious, but again, it's one of the biggest problems that we have, especially when we're working with bigger companies, that they use a lot of corporate lingo or hard to understand technical words, and then it breaks the flow. Right, so typically we will write the first script with the wording that we think that most people will understand, at least on their target audience, and then they introduce like very boring and corporate words that are hard to animate, and that they sound too generic, and that they've been overused many times, right?
Correct.
And then that really starts. People have heard those words so many times. It's like, okay, well, this is another boring video, right? And then you lost them. So you really have to pay attention to the entertaining value of the video. And it is a very hard balance to strike, because not every product lends itself to making something super fun and crazy. Like consumer products are great for that. Sometimes when we're talking with companies that do cloud computing or hard tech stuff, it's hard, but it's not impossible. In fact, some of our most successful videos have been for companies in Europe. One specifically that comes to mind is ProAct, which they do cloud computing stuff. And they wrote the first script, and it was like, oh my goodness, it was almost 5 minutes long, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We cut it down to 1.5 minutes, and then we introduced a character that was very, very entertaining. It was a cowboy, and this cowboy, basically, the bad person on this video was the fact that storing data is very hard, right? But suddenly we made something that was very boring, very entertaining by introducing a very likable character. So that's one technique, right?
Right.
So, and again, just paying attention to those little details, it helps a lot.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that goes into we could go in for hours about this, but storytelling in general. I think at the end of the day, what we're all trying to do here, whether you're a business, or a storyteller, a visual storyteller, or animator, you're trying to tell a story in general, and that's the best way to reach that target audience. If you don't have a story, all of us do, but if you can't convey that story properly, then you don't have a product, you don't have a brand, you don't have a video.
Yeah.
And so I think that's brilliant. Yeah, having a cowboy explain cloud computing is pretty great. So.
Yeah, no, coming up with very unique characters as opposed to. For example, there's another example that I have for houseplans.com. They sell blueprints for people that want to build their own homes, right? So we came out with a character, and it was just a guy that looked like a guy on his 30s, the perfect target audience for somebody that's going to buy a house,
Right.
and so like average looking Joe. And then we're like, man, this doesn't feel this entertaining enough. So then we decided to make the guy into a dog, right?
So you transform him into a dog. Yeah.
And the guys loved it so much, it became the official mascot of their company. And so then we got hired again to create different versions of this dog because he was so cute and they liked it. So not only made the video a lot more entertaining, it became an asset that they could use in different marketing materials. And this is the thing for a bunch of other videos we've done, also for the cowboy character, right? So
that's fantastic. Yeah, thinking of it as a mascot essentially, right? Yeah, it's a character, and I feel like a lot of times people come in and just jump on camera and they say, "This is what we do. This is our brand. This is how we do business. You should hire us, buy our stuff, whatever."
Yeah.
It's the absolute wrong way to do it. So, all right, we're gonna move on here, Miguel. I know you and I could keep talking about this for hours.
Yeah.
Let's instead of talking about the goods, let's talk about the next bad bullet point, and that would be bad sound design. So, can you
I know you
feel
feel strongly about this as well.
Yes.
And I'm gonna give you my take. Bad sound design can come in two different forms. The best one is because sound design is everything related to the soundtrack, which is the voiceover, the sound effects, and the music. So there's like three aspects of it. So if we talk about the voiceover, hiring the wrong voiceover, it can destroy a video. Right, a lot of people tend to hire people that again sound very like car salesman, or like very corporate or very boring, or they have this deep voice, corporate stuff, blah blah blah. Look how cool we are, and there was a time where this type of voice, I think it worked, but now again we're at a time where we like something that sounds more human and personal, sounds more friendly. So when I'm hiring for voiceover, I always say I'm looking for somebody that sounds genuine and friendly, like if you were talking to your best friend, right? So it doesn't sound like you're selling. I'm just telling you a little story, and if you like it, great, and if not, whatever. Let's move on, right? So that's one aspect of it. The other one is music. Selecting the right music is extremely hard. In fact, in some of our videos, it's been so hard, we decided to go without music altogether because we couldn't agree on a soundtrack, right? So it's better not to put music than to put the wrong music. Let's put it that way, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's fantastic. I think a quick note on that. Music, for those of you who are just getting started into demo videos and video creation, music is kind of and I think you'll agree with this, Miguel. It's the emotional string. It's like the heartstrings of the actual promo or of the demo. Yeah, and without the right ones, without the right strings or heartstrings, you're going to have a terrible product. You're going to have a terrible video, and you're going to tell a terrible story because it won't feel right. So yeah, I completely speak to that 100%. Music is key. It can make or break a demo video.
Yeah. Definitely.
And by the way, guys, just so you know, for those of you watching, we do have a really special offer in regards to music at the very end of our seminar here. So please stick around because we have something that's time sensitive, and we really want to give this to you guys for participating in our event tonight. So again, thanks for coming out, by the way, and tuning in. And let's move on before we run out of time here, Miguel, because
time flies. Hey, by the way, if you guys have any questions, put it on the group chat.
Absolutely, yes, please do. Yeah, we'd love to answer them at the very end. So, moving on, we did have some bad demo videos for you guys, and actually, we are still going to. We can't show them, unfortunately, but we are going to tie these links up to the group chat, so you can check them out for yourselves. And just, can you touch on the social twist video here real quick, Miguel, while I type these out for everybody to check out?
So, I mean, I already explained what the typical bad demo video. What's going to happen is it's usually going to be too long, sound too corporate, and overall, it's not going to be engaging whatsoever. It's going to lack a story. It's going to lack basically it's going to be a pain to watch, right?
Right.
So twist is actually a video that we did, so I'm throwing stones at myself right here, right? And this was a video that is it's 2 minutes and a half long, so for our standards is way too long. And the reason why it's too long is because not because we wanted to make it too long, but because the client insisted that they wanted a very long video. And usually we can argue or we can reason why we would like to make it shorter, but in this case we lost the battle. It's like, well, they're paying us to do a video, and then we're gonna do, and eventually if you want a long video and a boring video, that's fine. I mean, this is subjective. Some people may think that it's not boring. In my opinion, that was a very boring video. If you watch it, there's nothing specifically wrong with it.
Right. And yeah, keep talking there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing specifically wrong with it, but it also doesn't. There's nothing special about it, right? So when you have a mediocre video, in a sense, you failed as a producer, right? Correct. Because the whole idea is to differentiate a brand, and Social Twist, provides a very, oh, you can see the video there, right?
Yeah. So I'm playing the video for you guys that are just tuning in. I'm playing a video here that's Miguel says this is a bad example of a demo video. Reason being, A, it's too long. It's very corporate-y and business feely. It doesn't feel like it's selling, or it does feel like it's selling. It doesn't feel like it's a friend telling me about a good movie, and that's what you want to go for, the good movie feel, right, Miguel?
Yeah, we really want to tell a little story that is engaging, right? In this case, the concept of Social Twist is the power of social media referrals, right? Which is extremely huge, and there was an opportunity to do something really fun here. But then we ended up with what I consider a mediocre video. Now the client was extremely happy with the video, and then they hired us to do another video. So I mean, it paid off to listen. But personally, I was not that happy. So I mean, there's millions of bad examples out there on the web, and it's very easy to know if you're watching a bad video. It's gonna take you 5 seconds. If you're like, holy crap, I don't care about this, or it's just too boring, you just encountered a perfect bad video, right? The hardest thing is to figure out what it takes to make a good video, right? And that's where the magic, and that's where good animation producers come into place to help you make that a reality.
Correct. 100%. That's exactly right. And again, just looking at that video, it just looks so bland and so boring. I think you nailed it right on the head. That they loved it, and it isn't bad. I mean, it looks nice. It looks very professional. You did a great job on it, but it's not something that I'm going to sit there and watch myself. Because I feel like it, or because I have the time for it. No one's got that kind of time.
Yeah.
A very good point. All right, moving on. Let's get back to our presentation here, Miguel.
Okay.
And for those watching, thank you for being patient with us jumping screens here. We've had some technical difficulties, but we're making it work. So hopefully you guys are enjoying what you've learned so far. We've gone over bad video demos or demo videos, and now we're going to talk a little bit about good demo videos and what those common traits actually are. What can you do in your business to create a great video that will actually work? So, Miguel, let's talk a little bit about the first point, and I think we kind of discussed it already.
Yeah, so in a sense that the good video, everything that we said it was bad about a bad demo video, it's the opposite, right? So a good demo video typically is short, or at least it feels short, right? It's really what matters at the end of watching your videos, how you made the viewer feel. So if they felt like refreshing, or I understood something new, I learned something really cool, and I was entertained, then if the positive emotion that you instill on the viewer is positive, then that's a really good indication. And a good way to be able to attain something like that is to ensure that the video is not too long. So again, emphasizing making a short video.
Perfect. Perfect example. That's actually great. I like the fact that if it doesn't feel long, then it wasn't too long.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to storytelling and being able to pace it properly, I think, and being able to really engage them in your story. Great example. And that leads us to our next point, engagement. So it's kind of the same thing, wouldn't you say, Miguel?
Yeah. So, I mean, engaging is, the trick to make something engagement is usually have some kind of like mini story, right, where people can relate to it. So, for example, the Hipmunk video. Hipmunk is a flight search engine. Now it's also a flight and hotel search engine. It's very visually appealing. It's really nice, right? So when I did this video, this was, by the way, the spec video I did to start this company, right? And I could have gone in many different angles to do this. I could have just said this is what they do, and it's awesome, visually it's fantastic, and maybe that video could have been successful. But I think one of the feedback I got is that people really like the fact that I was telling like a little story. So the video starts saying, so you want to see your honey tomorrow, so you need to get a plane ticket right away. So basically, now already in that first sentence, I tell you a little story. There's this guy that is in love with his girlfriend, needs to get to see her tomorrow. She lives across the country, and obviously is gonna get to find a plane ticket. Look at all the stuff from an engaging or emotional aspect is happening in that first sentence, right? You picture yourself, this guy in love with this girl, wants to see her, blah blah blah. It's like what is this leading me to, right? Well, leading you to the problem, which is he needs to find a plane ticket right away. And how is he going to do that? Well, the traditional methods are very boring and slow, and here comes Hitmonk, and it's going to make it a lot easier so they can get together and be happy, you know, as a couple now, whatever, you know. So, boom, just by adding that little story behind, it's tricky because you don't want the story to overwhelm so much that it actually makes you forget about the product. That's the biggest challenge when you're writing videos that are trying to sell or promote products, is that you don't want the fun factor or the engagement factor or the story factor to make you forget about the actual product, which happens a lot in television ads, where you're like, this was so beautiful, but I don't know what they were selling. Right?
Well, that's you know, it's funny. I've done a lot of studies in throughout different cultures in the world, and you know, a lot of our audience is very international. But something that's very new to North America, for instance, is the ability to tell stories without having to really sell anything. And I think that's the perfect point. I know Taiwan is doing a really good job of this. And when it's actually in Taiwan, if you could speak to this at all, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below or in the links in the group chat. But what they do, a lot of short film producers out there, they're telling these beautifully intricate 3-minute short film stories, and then and then at the very end, it's a story about like a child, like a little girl and her father, and like the struggles and the difficulties of their love, and he's blind and he can't see, and she wants him to see her grow up, and it's beautiful, and you cry. And then at the very end, it's like for a bank, like the whole ad was for a bank, and it's like, why they didn't even mention the bank one time in the ad. And at that point, I don't even care about the bank at all, but I'm going to remember that logo. I'm going to remember that bank in general because it was so touching. Because I felt something when I was watching it. Yeah,
that is extremely powerful. It's a little bit of a trick because they open you emotionally, and you're very receptive. And when you're in that kind of like vulnerable feeling situation, then they implant the logo. So then it gets imprinted in your brain, right? It's like
exactly.
And then you what you're gonna do is subconsciously do an association, which is good feelings associated to this brand.
Absolutely.
Whether they're related or not, all right?
And just no, completely. And just to go a little bit off tangent and track, just a little life tip for everybody watching. This is something I've learned recently. Memories are best formed in the human emotion or the human experience when it has elevated sense of emotion. Yeah. So if you're watching a very impactful video and it makes you cry or it makes you super scared, you're going to remember that forever because your emotions were heightened, your senses were heightened, and that is when memories are actually created in your brain. So if you're trying to sell something, you want your audience to feel something. It's not just to make them
strong emotions.
Exactly.
If you look at all viral videos, you'll see that there's a moment or at least one moment in the video that you feel a strong emotion. Which I actually was doing a study on viral videos, and I was trying to figure out why a viral video was viral. And obviously, you'll always find 1 or 2 moments where you're like, "Holy cow!" It's like the wow moment, or it's like, and you'll have a very strong emotional reaction to it. Which brought me to if you want to be a really good writer or producer of videos, you have to become an emotional expert.
Correct.
So. And learn how each emotion gets triggered depending on what emotions. Obviously, you typically wanna instill positive emotions. So then you have to figure out which are the positive emotions, right? Happiness, love, whatever, right? Laughter, all of them. and if you go to, for example, Wikipedia and you type emotions, you'll see like there's the emotion wheel, and then you can learn about all the different emotions. And I think what you want to do when you're doing a video, if you want to get into it, is identify which emotions you want your brand to stand for, and then see how you can put those emotions in your video, or at least two of those main emotions that you want people to associate your brand with, right? That way you'll have that, it'll be consistent, and it'll also be a lot more powerful. Yeah.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense. I think to touch on that real quick, you know, there's different types of emotions, but every one of them, no matter what it is, if you're scared, that's one. If you're grossed out, that's another one. If you're just laughing beyond belief, that's why cat videos are so effective. They're funny, they're cute, and they make you feel something that, you know, it makes you feel happy, and that's why they're so memorable. That's why the internet's filled with them.
So, cat videos, you know.
Yeah, you gotta love them. Yeah. So last thing for great or good demo video common traits, great sound design, and you know that counteracts what we talked about earlier. We talked about how bad sound design can really make or break your video. So great sound design. Can you speak to that, Miguel? What exactly defines great sound design?
Well, it'd be a combination of the three elements: is voiceovers, sound effects, and music, right? So voiceover is very important. And I was talking about trying to find friendly, natural-sounding voices as opposed to the typical radio voices that are selling you like tickets to the hockey game tonight or like the next big car or something like that. And then music, it's very difficult. We're gonna list a couple of websites where you can actually go and check background music for royalty-free background music. And that is a process that can be very tedious, but it's worthwhile to go through, because like the right track can really help a lot a video. And I've seen that. I've seen good videos that visually are great, and then the moment the music comes in, you're like, holy cow, it's distracting. Maybe there is a drum beat that interferes with the voice, or the timbre of the voice doesn't match well with the track, right? So instead of helping drive the animation, is doing the opposite, right? So paying attention to that is extremely important, and at the same time, it's very time consuming to be able to find that perfect soundtrack.
Correct, 100% correct. Yep. So moving on, then let's talk a little bit about. I know the next slide we have here is to showcase a good video, and for those of you tuning in just now, we have a link. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pull it up immediately, but I am going to see if I can at least play it on screen for you guys while Miguel talks a little bit about it. And so, in your opinion, what makes this video? This is for those of you watching the TO Mobile Pay. What makes this video so great without the audio?
Okay, so this was what I would call an ideal Grumo video. It has all the elements of a video that we've considered successful, and in fact, this video was a big hit in this company. It's a local Vancouver company that they work on the payments industry, and basically the app, it helps you pay all your bills from one mobile app, from one centralized place, right? That's what it does. And they're doing very well. So it's by itself, the concept is not that exciting, but the way that we introduced it, it was a hit, right?
Yeah, I'm already so you've got a character here. I'm assuming you guys.
The character is very simple, very just stick man. Another important thing to notice is that for a video to be engaging or good, it doesn't have to be very complex visually. In fact, I always emphasize that sometimes having complex visuals stands in the way of an effective or clear message. So when you're explaining things, that's why like whiteboard videos are very successful, because they're just a hand writing something or drawing something. You see that old lady there dancing, that people really like that moment, right? It's so easy. Your grandma can use it, right?
I remember, yeah, I watched it earlier, and so I heard.
And people love that moment. It's unexpected. There's another thing about how to make messages stick, and it's based on the book of Made to Stick, right? And there's a few elements, right?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually 7 elements, and one of them is unexpected. Grab people's attention by surprising them. And I also have one point which I call it smile. If you can make people smile at least once during the entire video, that's gonna make your video 100% more successful. Because again, going back to the emotions, laughter or just having a little chuckle here and there, it just relaxes you, and then you're more prone to listen to what's coming, right? And to pay attention, right? So moments like that where there's the little old lady just shaking her hips, and they're very, very good. So in general, that video had everything. It's short, it flows really fast, it explains that product really well and the benefits of it. It uses visuals that are fun to watch. Simple. The beginning, I start saying bills, bills, bills. Like they're paying to. It's like nobody likes bills. So I start saying that the problem. I explain the problem really quickly in a way that everybody can relate to, and immediately, without wasting time with corporate words or whatever, I just go into like, boom, just get TO Mobile Pay, and then you can pay all your bills from one place. It's so easy, your grandma can use it, blah, 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 and boom, just go to this website. Right. And in just 65 seconds, I think it lasts, you've understood everything you needed to know in order to get excited about this app, right? So to me, that was a very successful video, and the client was so happy.
Yeah, no, I think everyone, if you can get a chance to watch this video, I just posted the link in our group chat, and if you're watching this replay, you'll see that video below. Check it out. It's a good minute 30-second video, and it's hilarious. I think everyone can relate to it. It's got a ton of elements of surprise, and it's really just a fun video. So, yeah, I completely agree. That's the way to do it, Miguel. That's why you do what you do, man. You're nailing it. So that's it, guys. Just to recap real quick, short, engaging, and great sound design. Those are 3 really great tips that you want to take. Those are the common traits that most good videos have out there in regards to demos for your product, for your service, for what it is that you do. So beautiful. Okay, so moving forward, we got to talk a little bit about this here. I'm sure most of the people watching are going, okay, I get it. So you want a short video, it's got to be engaging, but what do I do about animation versus live action? Which one's more expensive? Which one is the right one for my business? So let's talk a little bit about that, Miguel.
Yeah, so this is a question that comes a lot. They're like, okay, well, we have this product, and they're like, we've seen some very good live action videos. Which route should we go? And it is a bit of a personal choice. Both mediums, both animation and live action, can be very effective if they're well executed, but there's very important differences that you have to have into account. So usually, my opinion is if that you have a physical product, that you go the live action route if you just want to introduce it, right? So, for example, there was this product that came a couple months ago. It's called Nafty, and it's a heads-up display that you put behind your steering wheel, and it projects an image into your windscreen. Windscreen, and it tells you like directions, and you can answer to SMS messages and all of that, right? It's a product, right? So they use live action video, and that live action video, it has over 1 million views in less than a couple of months. Very successful live action video. Now, it is a physical product, so it made a lot of sense for people to see it, because if you're selling something that is physical, you want to see the real thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to like an animation or a drawing of it, because you're actually buying it, so you want to see how it feels, how it looks exactly, so you can picture yourself with that, touching it or using it, right?
Correct.
Now, if you were to show how it works inside, or a more difficult to explain workflow or something like that, then animation is great. Now, most of the animations that we do are usually for the startups that are web-based, or so then they're not selling physical products. So animation is great for that. Like a flight search engine, or an apartment search engine, or cloud computing, anything that is more conceptual based or is web based.
Right. Like how could I don't know how I could really I couldn't shoot a video, like a live action video about, I mean I could, but it'd be hard to really showcase the benefit of Dropbox. If you guys are familiar with Dropbox, it's a cloud computing a cloud computing system that allows you to share your files with every device and other people.
Yes.
But I couldn't really convey that 100%, like showing the benefits in live. I think an animation would be much simpler, much easier to showcase because you could show how the file flies into the air, how it goes into the cloud. That's something that I couldn't physically shoot effectively, right?
Yeah, exactly. It would be very expensive and complex, right? So
Correct.
that's the main difference. I think if you're doing something that is a physical product, choose the live action route. If it's software based and you want to do live action, what I've seen working before is not so much how the product works, but shooting people's opinion about it. So it's more like testimonial kind of like videos, like, okay, I use this Dropbox or whatever, is great, and and a live action testimonial of a product is extremely effective, but it's not the same as a demo video.
Correct. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I guess to answer that question then, if you have a physical product, you might want to consider doing live action. If it's a highly complex or software-based product, you might want to go the animation route. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah, and you can, like I said, you can use both. I mean, we've done a video that was very good for Play-Fi, and there's speakers, Android. You can stream Android, music from an Android device to a speaker wirelessly, and they actually, funny enough, they already have a live action video, but they insisted they wanted an animation video. It was very successful. So it's not like a deal breaker, but
right.
there is challenges there because the way how we represent and design the product had to be very accurate, and that was tricky. But we pulled it off. It's just more challenging.
Correct. And so I think the next thing we have here is a simple demo video process, and this is actually courtesy of cartoonmedia.com. They our friends over there allowed us to check this out and showcase it to you guys. It's basically a step-by-step workflow of how they create, say, cartoons for their clients. And this is very similar to what Miguel would do in regards to animation, right? Instead of animation, though, they're creating cartoons. In fact, I have a question, Miguel. What is the real definitive line between these two? What is cartooning versus animation? Are they the same thing, or is there a line there between the two?
Cartoon versus animation. I don't know.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? All of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much. If it's like 2D, if you produced it digitally and it's basically just 2D.
Yeah.
You also 3D, it can be animation. But cartoon, to me, when I hear of a cartoon, I always think of 2D, not like 3D animation, right?
Right.
Also, I think more of like flat characters, something like that. So
this would essentially be very much like the same sort of workflow that you would do. You go from client questionnaire all the way down.
The workflow here would be exactly the same. Basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do, this is really nice, and I thought I'd share it with you guys because it's a very great visual of how the demo video process works these days. But I want to go through kind of a tedious step-by-step process here in the next slide. And that would be how myself and Miguel do our videos and how it works currently. Okay.
Oh.
So we're going to talk a bit about the animation video steps. First and foremost, defining the concept. So can you speak to that, Miguel?
Yeah. So this is where usually this happens there's two ways that this can happen, or a combination of two ways. A typical one is we send the client a project brief form that asks them very specific questions about their target audience, define their product in as little time as possible, like in a few words, and also just to have an overall idea, right, of what they do. So they fill that form, and then usually with that we get into a phone call where we try to distill the essence of that product as well by talking to the client, right? Just to see what their expectations are, learning more about their industry, really getting inside their customers' shoes, just to understand what would they understand, what kind of language we should use, etc. Right? So once we have that understanding, that's when we move to the script. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, and then from there, a script is basically written words on a piece of paper that tell you
Yeah.
how.
So there is the typical script that we do is it's just like I say, we have like a checklist, which is make sure that it's not longer than, if it's 60 seconds, make sure it's not longer than 200 words, and make sure that there is 3 sections, which is the problem, the solution, and a call to action, right? Inside that, so there's some structure to it, right? And then make sure that at least there's one smile moment, and sometimes we have what we call the wink moment, which is at the end, right after the tagline, and we have something funny happening. So once we feel that script has all those elements, we send it back to the client as a draft, and then we tell them, this is what we think would be an effective demo video, but obviously maybe we got something wrong, maybe we don't want to misrepresent your brand, maybe we just said something that was not right, and then they come back, it's like, okay, could you change this and this? And this process goes on for typically maybe 3-4 revisions until we're like, both the client and us think, okay, we reached a compromise and we can move on to the next step, which is storyboard. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, and then from there, the storyboard itself is basically, I mean, it's basically what you just said. It's visual.
Yeah. On the storyboard, for each line of the script, we have a visual representation, a simplified visual representation of what's going to be animated once we take this into production, right? That way, the client can visualize what we're envisioning it's going to happen in the animation. And then they can also say, well, maybe instead of a woman character, we want a male character. Maybe we want a dog, or we want this house to look more like an industrial warehouse, or just little details that that we again reach a compromise on to what the final visuals are going to be. Right. Sometimes on the script, in brackets, if we feel strongly about a visual, we would put in brackets in the script, and here show this, or the client would say the same thing, just because what we do is give the script to the animator. So the more information the animator has in advance, the easier it is for the animator to start doing the storyboard. Sometimes we just give them the script, and they're like, okay, just run with it, do whatever you want, and then we'll figure out if that works or not. But the storyboard is just basically like a series of shots that describe what's going to be seen on the video. Yeah.
Correct. And so ultimately, this is, and again, guys, the reason we're going through all of this right now is because this is defining exactly what it currently takes to create a demo video. And I want you guys to understand this, because we want you to know that it is very daunting. And what we do every single day is a hell of a process. And just so you guys know, you got to stay tuned, because after this, we're going to talk about how you can bypass most of these steps, or a lot of them, to create an effective video in general.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on here. The next one, this is where I come in. If we were to do a live action video together, we would actually end up at the storyboard, and from there it would take the route of location scouting, finding a place to shoot your video, whether it be at your office or at somebody's production set, hiring a video crew if you don't have one, and then actually shooting that video. That in itself is a long process too. So we're already mentally, it's already about 2-3 weeks into the process of creating a video.
Yeah.
And we're illustrating this again because we said we could help you guys learn how to do a video within 30 minutes, not 2 weeks. So understand the length, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, there is more. I mean, if you get into it, like sometimes you have to do casting, then you have to do props, then you have to dress the locations, you have to get permits sometimes. I mean, it's live action video. If you do it like professionally, it's a lot of work. It's,
right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's why we have this as well. We have once that's all done, we have hiring the voiceover, beginning the animation, editing. That alone is the bulk and the meat of it. Becoming the maestro of the whole event, of the whole creation. It's playing God with the story. Right. Choosing music, revising, editing, animations. Or the production, and then of course rendering out the final product.
Yeah.
Wow. So for those of you still with us, we know it's a boring, tedious process, but this is what Miguel and I live and breathe every day. So we figured we'd showcase it.
Yeah.
But we know it's really long. It's a long process.
Boring. Well, it's not actually that boring. Some parts are really fun.
Yes, definitely. I know, 100%. That's why I've dedicated my life to it, and so have you. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
for the general, business owner who's trying to get a story done
Now,
for
if you
their
want to do it
audience,
yourself, definitely that's extremely tedious. Yeah.
yeah. Which is why we have a few tools, a few secret tools. They're going to help you guys create your videos, and we want to talk about those right now. So let's get into that. First of all, DIY, it's do-it-yourself demo video templates.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about these for a second, Miguel. What exactly are these video templates that
Well,
you go?
in a sense, most demo videos they follow a structure that I said before, which is the problem, the solution, and the call to action, right? And sometimes there's a hero, and so a lot of the stuff you can kind of like it repeats in a sense in all videos. So what some people have done, they just grab those main elements and created templates that already have some characters. They have easy ways for you to add text and images, and basically they're a good starting point, and they lay down the foundation of a typical demo video, and they can save you a lot of time, right? So
Correct.
there's different resources out there that where you can buy these templates.
And so let's talk about a few of those. We're going to give you guys some of these links here. But first, we're going to talk about the next step. I forgot. We're going to go into that next. But the actual secret tool we will discuss after those links is demo video animation tools.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between video templates and video animation tools?
So the template would be a file usually that you would download into your animation software, right? So it kind of like does it already has that structure for you ready to animate.
Like the whole storyline.
Yeah, and the animation tools are tools that simplify the actual process of animation itself, right? Because typically we animate with software that is complex to use and expensive, like Adobe After Effects and Flash, and those are really powerful tools that the beginner usually gets overwhelmed with. So then there's other tools out there that simplify the process. Yeah.
Got it. So this is actually a gem, and I think this, it took me a couple years when I first started production to understand some animation tools out there, and it helped me personally leverage the ability to animate without actually animating. So, not to put you out of business, Miguel, but there are some pretty great tools out there.
No, it's great. There's always a need for professional work done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the next tool we'll have for you guys is royalty-free music resources. This one is key because even if you're just shooting yourself in your webcam, if you have the proper background music and you use it appropriately, you can really create a gratifying and just emotional piece using the right music. So this is a big gem for us, and we have a very special gift for you guys at the very end of our webinar here. So please stick around and get that gift at the very end. But yeah, music is 100% one of my favorite things to talk about. Maybe because I was a musician in the past, but again, it evokes a lot of emotion, and you want to do it right.
Yeah.
So the final piece we'll have for you guys: video producer marketplaces. What's that exactly, Miguel?
Well, there is a lot of there's a lot of studios that do animation demo videos, live action videos, right? So it could be sometimes it's overwhelming to go out there and you just type product demo video, explainer video, and you're like, which ones do you choose? So there's these websites that have aggregated a lot of the top video producers into one place, and then you can see their work, samples of the work, their pricing, and all of it in one place. So sometimes what you can do is just put out there your project, say this is what I want, how much money I'm ready to pay, and then a lot of these video producers will bid for that project. So basically they do the work for you. They try to find you, right? And so there's a few out there, and they're a good way to get more affordable videos.
Excellent. And so we're going to mention we're going to list a few of those in just a few minutes, guys, but let's go to the very top again and talk about those demo video templates. So here are a few different websites that Miguel suggests for you guys to check out. And we'll go through them one by one. Videohive.net. Can you speak to that one real quick, Miguel?
Yeah, so VideoHive is part of the Envato network. So they sell like web templates and all kinds of things related with digital content creation, right? But on VideoHive, they have a lot of stock footage. And recently, I've noticed that they start posting demo video templates or business video templates, which are typically After Effects or Flash templates that you can import into your animation software, the one that corresponds. So if it has After Effects, you need After Effects, obviously. But they already have with a lot of the assets and characters and all of that, they're already rigged for animation, right? So a lot of the legwork to get started is already done for you. They're very affordable. You can buy them for $20, $30. And if you don't want something, you don't mind. The only problem is that they're very, very generic. There's other people using them. It's the same as web templates, right? I mean, you're gonna lose the uniqueness factor, but you're gonna save in time. And if you don't are very concerned about that, you can always do a little bit of branding or modification there. But if you're in a hurry, they're very affordable. And if you know a little bit of basic animations, you have a little bit of animation skills, it can really speed up the process of creating your demo video.
Yes, 100%. And then here's the thing about that too. Me personally, I'm a video editor, and for those watching, you guys are probably just learning video editing or learning how to create product videos and so forth. I'm assuming that, at least, Miguel, your students they're students of video, correct?
Yeah, exactly. They're learning how to, yeah.
Okay, so this is a tool, VideoHive.net is a tool that would actually be more for the advanced users. So for those out there who already have some advanced skills in those editing programs, this is a great tool for you to not only progress your videos, but also beat that learning curve. You know, it's already built. The storyline's all there, so you can go in and tweak it the way you want to, and it'll actually it'll really speed up the way that you learn and the whole process. I've been doing this for 2-3 years using VideoHive, and it's taught me so much about motion graphics, and it's only escalated my ability to sell more and sell more expensively using those tools. So I would 100% suggest going out there, grabbing one of those templates that you find interesting, and trying to just dig into it and make a product out of it or a video out of it.
Yeah.
But for those who are actually watching, and that's the majority of you guys who aren't very skilled in animation or video editing in general, let's talk about Keynote for a second. And I think this one's you're pretty passionate about this one here.
Yeah, well, Keynote is exactly what you're using right now to do this presentation, and it's like the PowerPoint for the Mac platform for Apple computers, and it's extremely easy to use. A lot of you are probably familiar with it, but what you probably don't know, a lot of you, is that it actually is a very powerful tool for animation. Well, powerful, quote unquote, like not comparable to a professional piece of software, but powerful enough that you can create very compelling demo videos with the animation features that it comes with, right? And you'll be surprised to see what you can do. The reason why I put Rumo School there, which is a shameless plug, is because I created an entire course based where I teach how to animate demo videos of really high quality using only Keynote, right? And what I did, I recreated one of our most successful demo videos for Batmapper, and I recreated it entirely in Keynote, and you almost cannot tell the difference between the After Effects version and the Keynote version, just to give you a sense of how powerful it is. Now, to do it to create a really good demo video with Keynote, it's tedious, but if you want to just do something simple, it's not that hard actually, and it's a very affordable tool. I think it costs like maybe $10-15 from the Apple Store. And if you already know how to use Keynote to do presentations, just do add a little bit, just learning the animation part is not that hard, and then you can create pretty compelling animations. In fact, a lot of my students, my animation course in Keynote has been taken now by like 3,000 people at least, right? So I got a lot of examples also on my website of demo videos created entirely with Keynote, and some of them are actually really good, done by people that did them for the first time ever. So it's really a tool that you should take into account.
Yeah, that's actually, personally, I've done quite a few things in Keynote as well. Just even incorporated them into my videos. Like if it's one quick frame or one quick slide of something that needs to be animated, I can do it in Keynote, export it out as a QuickTime file, and then right into my video editor and make it look like I'm an actual animator. It's a great tool to have. So for those of you with Macs, I highly advise checking it out. and yeah, just to be completely transparent, we are currently using it here, you know, in the most simple sense, but you know, it does so much more. So good. Moving on, Prezi.com. This is one I mentioned actually. This one is. Are you familiar with this one, Miguel?
Oh yeah, I know when they came out. I follow them. They do. It's basically a web-based presentation software that allows you to do really nice, fluid presentations.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. It's basically like the PowerPoint / Keynote of the internet. So you can create all of your presentations right online. I think there's a membership included with it. But what's great about it is they have all sorts of templates that you can use. And what I would advise or suggest doing is if you wanted to create somewhat of a presentation, you could use Prezi.com and you could screen capture it, right? You could actually record your screen while you're flying through this presentation.
Yeah.
And you could just put a voiceover on top of it, put in some music, and you got yourself a pretty sweet little animation video.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one way to use it without actually having to know animation, but still being able to make it look really effective and really great. So for those of you who don't know about Prezi.com, check it out. If you're doing any sort of presentations at all, I would highly advise to check them out. They are like the next generation of PowerPoint. So, all right, moving on. I know we're running not low on time, but we're running way beyond time, and we apologize for that, guys. Again, we're live right now, and we are taking questions at our website. I just realized that you guys aren't asking questions here in the group chat. You're asking them right on our site. So it's contentcreatorslounge.com / well, okay. For those of you watching, you're watching. For those of you who aren't, check your email. I just sent out a new invite to start commenting and asking questions on our platform.
That's why I was not seeing any questions.
Yeah, I just realized you guys were asking questions on the other end.
So quiet. Come on.
I know, right? We've got a few.
The next webinar I do is going to be 3 years from now. So you either ask me there or you're.
Ask them while you can, guys. So, DIY demo video animation tools. This is one of my personal favorites too. I discovered Powtoons.com myself just a few months ago. This is a very powerful tool, and this can actually. I mean, you don't even have to know anything about animation to get this done. So, Miguel, can you talk about this for a second?
Yeah, no. When they came out, actually, I think the CEO contacted me and said, "Wow, what do you think about our tool?" And I subscribed, and I tried to do a couple of animations. And what they've done is they created an animation tool that is specific to business demo videos. Whereas a lot of animation tools are very generic, that you could do anything, motion graphics, special effects, or whatever. Powtoons is specific for demo videos, and another advantage is that works both on Macintosh and Windows because it's 100% web-based, so really convenient, very easy to use, and it comes with a bunch of assets that you can pre-select, so it has a bunch of different characters in different positions. Animations and transitions are very easy to add. You can add text in all kinds of formats. There's a bunch of templates that you can choose from. So anyways, it's extremely simple to use. So I really recommend them.
That's excellent. I haven't used them personally, but I have them on my back burner just in case because they seem like a really effective, really cost-effective platform as well. Do you know the pricing for them at all?
They're probably cheap. I mean, again, with a lot of these tools, the only thing you have to know is that your animation is going to look a little bit generic. It's going to lack a little bit of personality because you're just using assets that have been already created and a lot of people are already using. So usually when I see a Powtoons animation, I can tell right away. You know, like, okay, that's a Powtoons animation, which is not a big deal as long as the video is well written and is well executed and is fun to watch, right? But it will lack a little bit of the uniqueness in your brand if you're using a tool like this. But again, we're just talking about systems and solutions that allow you to, you know, speed up the process of production. And Powtoons definitely is a great tool for that.
You know, something that's interesting to know. We're professionals in this industry. We see those videos all the time. So for us, we can instantly say, oh, that's a Powtoons video. That's a Powtoons created animation. But most people don't know that. You know, most of your target audience isn't going to know that. And I think it's something that I've had to learn the hard way. You know, I'm very harsh with music. I know Apple and Microsoft have their own their audio packages where it comes free on the computer, and you can use audio tracks and YouTube tracks in your videos. And every time I hear one of those Apple loops or one of those YouTube loops, I instantly.
Oh, I've heard it so many times.
Yeah, even on TV commercials, I've heard it on national commercials before. People put this music that's that's already been created, and everybody on the internet's using it. Everybody's using it because it's royalty free.
Oh yeah.
But when I hear it, I think, oh man, that's cheesy. But nobody else knows that. So when you're creating your videos, your demo content, you have to keep in mind that you might have seen it a million times, but most people haven't, and especially your audience, the people you're trying to sell to, probably haven't. And that's
and maybe even if 0.05% have seen it, it's not such a big deal. I think as long as the message is clear, the script is well written, there's a good voiceover, you'll have maybe 95% of what makes a successful video successful, independently of what tool do you use. So that's
correct. Exactly. And that goes right into the next one, which is goanimate.com. Again, it's another type of platform like Powtoons.
Yeah.
Was there any difference between this one and Powtoons?
I try to play with them a little bit. Like I always get very excited when a new tool comes out. So I try to use them, and it's very similar to the concept of Powtoons. I couldn't tell you exactly what the main differences are, but I think it's web-based. You can select from a bunch of existing characters and assets, and it's very easy to animate. It's specifically designed for business demo videos. They came out before Powtoons, so they've been in the market for a little bit longer, and they have many samples of videos created with GoAnimate on their website, so you can get a sense of what you can do. So yeah, good resource to know about.
Excellent. Yeah, I actually haven't played with them much. I've seen them around but never used them, so
yeah,
I'd be interested to check that out. Animoto, this is another big one I've heard of too. This one's super simple. This one's very easy to use.
Animoto, I think, came even before GoAnimate, and it's not so much geared to a specific type of videos. Now they have a lot of different templates for like Christmas videos and generic corporate videos. And the beauty of Animoto is that it's probably the simplest of all the tools, but the one where you have the least amount of control. So there's a little bit of a trade-off. So if you need something really fast and you don't care so much about the composition, all of that, you can do. Some of the templates are extremely professional looking, and actually I've used them for other projects when I was in a hurry. And basically all you have to do is upload a bunch of pictures. Mm-hmm. and then you just and some text, and then you can basically press a button and it creates like this beautiful composition of all your pictures, right? And like I said, the look is extremely professional as opposed to Powtoons or GoAnimate, because these templates are created by really professional people. And the only problem is that you have less control at the end. So you may like what Animoto does. So it's basically like automated animation software. It tries to figure out the best way of combining things, but the end result may not be exactly what you're looking for. But if you're like you're in a hurry and you want a quick presentation, it's a really powerful tool.
Yeah, I agree. I've used it a couple times actually, and it's done amazing stuff. So I highly advise that one for sure. Animoto.com.
Yeah.
So put it in your back pocket, guys. Again, we are taking questions, guys, at the very end. I know we've run way beyond our allotted time, but as long as you guys are sticking around, which it looks like you are, let's continue.
Guys.
Yeah, come on. We got plenty of time to talk.
Hey, this is free education right there. My courses, you have to pay for them. This is free.
That's right. Same here, man. This is free stuff, guys. Ask away, please. Again, I'm posting the link into our group chat here for those watching it on Google, and for those on our actual site. Please ask any questions you have down below in the discuss menu. All right, videomakerfx.com. Just to wrap this one real quick, this is, again, I'm assuming another animation tool online. Miguel?
Yeah, I just found about it the other day. So I think I don't know how old they are, but they seem to have their stuff together.
Excellent. Yeah, I've actually never heard of them myself, but there's so many different platforms coming out these days. I feel like none of us are going to have jobs at some point.
Well, yeah, pretty soon computers will get so smart, and we're like...
I know, to start walking on their own. Yeah, here's the thing, guys. For those of you who aren't 100% experienced in video animation, this is great for you. This is a great time to be a video evangelist or a business owner, because you can create your own stuff with very minimal cost. It wasn't like this 2, 3, or 5 years ago. I mean, now we have all this stuff here, and it really cuts cost and helps you really promote your business. So take advantage of it. Royalty-free music. Now, this is again a passionate zone for me personally. But Miguel, we've listed a few of them here, so I'll let you kind of go through some of the platforms for music resources for your videos.
Okay, so the one that I've used the most, I think, is Pond 5 and Audio Jungle a lot. Now, a lot of our videos actually have a combination of a stock track, but we work with professional sound designers, so they can incorporate one of these tracks, modify it, and create custom sounds. Right now, this is obviously not something that everybody can afford to do. So a good solution is just to go to one of these sites, and for $5, $10, you can buy a soundtrack, and all you have to do is just type corporate video or what mood you want, like quirky sound or whatever, upbeat, and then you'll have a list of a bunch of different options of royalty-free music that you can purchase for very little money, and then you can do and just lay down that track on your video. The biggest challenge you're going to find is that sometimes the duration of the track doesn't match the duration of your video. So let's say your video is 90 seconds and the track is 2 minutes. And then that's when you have to do a little bit of sound editing. It's not that hard. You can use almost any video editing software to do that, or free tools like Audacity or something like that. But other than that, there's a lot of options. In fact, the biggest problem that I find is that there's so many options that it's overwhelming to pick one. And the other challenge that there is that it's very hard to know if a soundtrack is going to work until you see it, until you listen to it with both the visuals and the voiceover at the same time. So because you may like the soundtrack a lot by itself, but when you see it with the visuals, it just doesn't fit. The rhythm is not right. The voiceover doesn't fit well with the soundtrack. So I think I was gonna mention a little trick of what you can do, but go ahead, John, and I'm sure you have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that all of those points are absolutely great. That's very true. Having music is going to be the key to your video because, again, it's the emotion. But something I want to make you guys aware of, a lot of business owners like to create product or video products for their business, and then they like to decide to buy some airtime for TV to post it on as a TV commercial, whether it be local, whether it be regional or national. And you have to be careful with this stuff, guys, because music is copywritten depending on where it's coming from. So you can't put in the latest Taylor Swift or Kesha or whatever song on the radio into your video, because if you put it on YouTube, YouTube will probably capture that and understand that it's a popular song. And a lot of times what YouTube will do is they will actually strip the audio completely from your video. They kind of penalize you. A lot of times they'll penalize you depending on the track. And that gets into like copyright and record labels and this and that. But the bottom line is you want to use music that's royalty free. And that's why these resources are very, very important when you're creating any video content that you're trying to sell or trying to make sales with. Right? If I make a video for my product and it has a certain song in it, like a Taylor Swift song, and I make sales in that, and that video converts into actual sales, I could very well get sued by Taylor Swift's label because I used her song in my video that made me money. So that's the general rule of thumb, and you got to be careful when you're using music. So these tools right here that you see, this list, Audio Network, Cinephonics, Pond 5, AudioJungle.com, these are great. These need to be in your repertoire of places to go to get your music for your videos. Okay? If you take anything else away from here tonight, it's don't get sued with music. Get it properly, get it the right way, and that's why we've listed these here, because when it comes to royalty-free music, there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of crap out there. These are 4 of our favorite websites that allow to have really great music at a very affordable price. So it's a little licensing and registration for you guys, and a little lesson on not getting sued with your videos.
I also wanted to make one note. We were just talking about soundtracks like music, but you'll also need sound effects. And a lot of these sites also allow you to buy individual sound effects, like when you need to hear somebody, like steps of somebody walking, or a bing or a bang sound or a bell sound. All those things you can also find them here, or you can just type royalty-free sound effects on Google, and you'll find a bunch of resources. Or you can record your own, which I've done in some of our videos, and if it's done right, it can be really effective as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's very true. And in fact, Audio Jungle is one of my personal favorites. They have sound effects for like $2, $3 sometimes.
Yeah.
So, totally worth it, because it really does make the difference in your videos.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys, we're moving on. Make sure you get these websites. I've posted them in our chat on the site. So keep those in your back pocket. All right, and then lastly, we have our video producer marketplaces. If you guys 100% just say, you know what, I just want to hire somebody to do my video for me, whether it be animation or a cartoon, which are the same thing, then these are the platforms you want to check out. These are Miguel's suggested, recommended platforms. Yeah. Let's talk about Wooshi.
All of these are very similar. Wooshi is, again, there's the way it works. You just post your project, what kind of video you want, the length that you want. Originally, I don't know if they changed the model, but they charge you by the length. So if you have like a little slider, and the longer you wanted the video, the more it was gonna cost you. And I don't know how the model works right now, but originally they decided you had a set price based on the length of the video and the type of animation, and then a bunch of people would say, yeah, I'll do it for that amount, and then you just can select from a bunch of bids from video producers, right? And they've grown quite a bit in the last couple of years. And so if you just want, instead of going on the web and looking for video producers, you want video producers to go to you, that's a good option. I couldn't say if the videos that come out are great or not, because I haven't looked at them for a while, but you'll get a good video if you do your research, because a lot of people are gonna say, oh, I'll do it for like very cheap, and then you're like, great, and then it turns out that it's a really crappy video. Usually what happens, like everything in life, you get what you pay for typically. So before you say yes to a bid, make sure that you research the portfolio of the individual or the studio to make sure that they produce good work, that they have good reviews, anyways, that they know what they're doing, right? Video Brewery, I actually know the founder. They have their own studio, and they decided to create their own marketplace. And what they did is basically they curated not like a limited number of really good animators. So it's not really a studios. It's more like individual freelance animators that have a lot of experience. And then they basically, again, you just post your job, you select your budget, and then everybody on the pool of curated animators will get a notification, and then they decide if they want to accept the job or bid for it, and then you select one and they work with you. So that's another option. Right.
Beautiful. There. Actually, yeah, I've never heard of. I guess Video Brewery must be smaller, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Video Pixie, another one. Who are these guys?
It's very similar concept as Wooshi.
Got it.
Very similar. So again, you post, and then people send you their bids, and then you select someone, and I think they're pretty new too.
Excellent.
But it's the same concept, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think when you guys are creating your demo videos, it's not like it's all or nothing. For me, I've been in a situation where I've had to hire somebody like Miguel to create an animation piece in my video just because I couldn't do that portion, or because it was an animation moment in the video, right? And so if you're doing a real life video and you need to intermingle something into it, like a quick graphic or something that flies across the screen in an animation, that's where these platforms would really come into play, and it wouldn't cost you as much if you're doing a mixed video, right? I know we do that a lot. We add motion graphics in, a little bit of animation, and then I handle all the video production itself. So these platforms, I personally have used Elance, I've used Guru.com, and I think those are the two biggest ones that we use. But those are the same concept. You're hiring somebody as a contractor for that little moment in your video that you can't do. So instead of reading an entire textbook or a training video, watching a bunch of training videos over it, you could just hire out and do it that way instead. So keep those things in mind, guys. These are great tools to have because they save you a lot of time when you're creating your demo videos.
Yeah.
All right, I see we're getting quite a few questions and comments in our comment section on the site, so thank you guys. We're going to get to those in just a second. But before we do have one special gift for our viewers tonight. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I know we ramble a lot, Miguel and I. We live and breathe this stuff. We're nerds.
Thanks for sticking around. I know that it's dinner time right now. Actually, my wife just got home, and we're gonna have dinner pretty soon. So I feel for you.
Hang tight, guys, and if you can, just bring your dinner over to your computer. Let's do this.
I know.
So Cinephonics, which we talked about earlier, back to the music aspect. They are a platform that allows you to purchase music per song, per track. And they actually teamed up with us to give you guys a really special gift tonight. And what it is a 2-month free blanket license from Cinephonics.com. Now, what a blanket license means is it's basically where you get a free membership pass to their site, and you can download all the music that you want to for free for 2 whole months. They have a huge, amazing platform, and the reason why I like these guys so much, and I contacted them personally to see what they had going on, was because their music is just super legit. I've been through Audio Jungle, I've used Audio Network, but Cinephonics, hands down, almost every one of their tracks are really, really great for everything that we do. They have quirky stuff, they have fun stuff, they have sad stuff. Unlimited music downloads for your demo videos, amazing library of exclusive music video tracks, free for you guys, 2 free whole months. So I would advise to jump on there and grab as many tracks as you can with what we're about to give you here. And oh, by the way, there is no obligation. After the 2 months, you can cancel if you'd like. But I personally have a membership with these guys. I have had one for a while now. They're amazing. So here's what you do. Go to Cinephonics.com, and when you go to the blanket membership license sign up, you'll want to enter this discount code GRUMOCCL, and you'll instantly get that license free for 2 months. And here's the catch. The offer is only available to the first 100 people to sign up, so go to the site right now or as soon as you can and sign up for it, because you guys, there's a lot of you watching right now, and I'm pretty certain it's not going to last. So jump on there as soon as you can, guys, and grab your free 2 months blanket license that gives you all the music that you want within the next 2 months for your demo videos. All right, again, Cinephonics.com and GRUMOCCL, that's the discount code. I'll type that into our comments. And at this time, I want to open up the floor to some questions and answers. So, Miguel, how you feeling, man? You got a few more? Got a little bit left? All right, so we had a few questions come in through our email, but before we get into those, we want to talk about some of the questions you guys asked live in our webinar. So I'm going through them right now, and the first question we had was, Miguel, have you created a demo video where someone sells professional services like a consultant rather than a product such as software or tangible products? And this is asked by Carlos.
I've been approached before, but I actually never produced a demo video for a professional. If I remember, it was one lawyer about 2 years ago, and we talked about it, and I think what I suggested was that he did a live action video with him talking to the camera, or having people talking, giving testimonials about his work, right? I find that a lot more effective if you're just an individual instead of a company, unless you want to explain how your business works, which then animation comes great. But if you're just working as an individual, either any kind of consultant, a lawyer, or something like that, I feel you're going to have a way stronger connection if it's you delivering the message. And now this is hard because not everybody feels comfortable in front of a camera, but realize that then when people hire you, they're usually going to end up seeing you anyways, so they might as well get used to liking you before they hire you. So I find that extremely much more effective than doing an animation of you, right? So that would be my recommendation. Hire a local crew to one of these websites. Like, actually, I just noticed that Video Pixie will do live action shoots. there's another company called Turn Here that for like $400 or something like that, they can also come to your office and shoot a little business video with you in it. So that's a good option.
Yeah, another one, guys, is productionhub.com. That's production HUB as in boy.com. That website is geared 100% towards video producers in every industry, in film and video production, and web production. And I'm personally, my company's on there, and we get a lot of our work, or have gotten a lot from there. And it's a great platform for people to meet, to see the needs, to bid on jobs. I've hired a lot of contracted videographers from there as well. If you're looking for somebody to shoot you on camera professionally 100%, then that's a great place to search as well. So productionhub.com, that one's one of my personal favorites for both reasons. Okay, so another question we had was from Jeff, and Jeff has asked if we have used Easy Sketch Pro or Whiteboard Animation Studio. I personally have not used either one of them.
The first one I've never heard of. The second one I've seen them a lot because a lot of people come asking specifically for whiteboard animation, and we don't do whiteboard animation. We do 2D animation or cartoon animation or animated demo videos. So, but whiteboard animation, they seem to have really focus on just whiteboard animation. I think they also do a little bit of oh yeah, there you go. The question is
yeah.
I never knew. That's awesome. So yeah. So, but you know, if you want a whiteboard animation, definitely go to whiteboardanimation.com because they seem to have the process dialed in, and they have a bunch of different budgets. And you know, they're also very effective videos. But I never use them personally, or I don't know anybody that has used them in my network. But they have a lot of videos you can see there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, we seem to be running through these questions a little ahead. So Al, is this session going to be recorded so we can check valuable info later? Absolutely. In fact, everything that we've talked about tonight is being recorded through the Google Hangout platform. Once this session is done, first thing tomorrow morning, you guys will receive an email with the replay link, and you're more than welcome to continue asking questions throughout. If you're watching this as a replay, feel free to ask questions. We'll get back to you as soon as we can and we see them on that platform. But yes, to be short, yes, 100% you will have a replay. And now Rodney, he asks, Miguel, I have not updated my Keynote 09. Should I update it? And we were just talking about this earlier, weren't we, Miguel?
Yeah. You see, I'm a little bit upset with Apple. I mean, I'm an Apple fan, and everything I use is Apple, but since they updated their Keynote, I mean, a lot of my animations were done with Keynote 09, and it was great. Everything worked fine. And then they released the new Keynote, and then some things were broken. And so I'm not 100% sold on upgrading. Now, I did upgrade. So the beauty is that if you upgrade, you actually Keynote 09 is still available. All you have to do is go to your Finder and go to Applications, and then just look for Keynote, and you'll find out that there is a folder called I think it's iWork 09, and under that folder you'll find Keynote is still available even if you update it. So if especially if you're taking my Keynote course, I recommend that you use that version, because that's the version I used on the animation course. Now the files that I created for that course still work on the new version, but if you try to animate, there's slight things that they've changed that they're just not working right. So I'm still a bit not happy with it.
Hey, I'm just going to chime in here and say, no, don't do it, man, because here we go, Rodney. Here's the reason why. They have really stripped down the new Keynote. And
they've dumbed it down to a point where it's like a lot of the really cool features are gone. I'm like,
yeah, 100. I mean, it sucks. We were just trying to export this entire Keynote we were presenting to you guys. We were going to show you the videos and whatnot, and at the very last minute, literally last 10 minutes before we presented, we couldn't export the videos. We couldn't export a lot of the content, so we had to find a very quick solution. And I'm not going to go into it, but the bottom line is don't upgrade. You have more functionality in Keynote 09 than you would in the latest Keynote.
Yeah, so basically what they've done is make it prettier looking and more modern looking, but they stripped down a bunch of features that for users like me were very nice.
Yeah, and I think they're doing it because they probably got a lot of. I mean, I'm sure Apple got a lot of heat about how much functionality they actually gave us. You
Yeah.
know, and it's great for us as creators, but I mean, it's not good for us as creators. It used to be, but it's good for everyone else that was complaining about it. All the bigger companies.
I guess so.
So that's the answer, I guess. So Lindsay has asked, I have a startup client that needs a video made to tell the mission culture of the company. So basically a demo video, and therefore show off the products too. Do you suggest a good company for that, especially in New York City? So Lindsay, to kind of verify the question, you're basically asking, can you find me a demo video company that does demo videos for products as well as mission and culture, like a branded company, organizational. What do you call that? There's an actual word for it.
Well, I mean, if she wants an animated demo video, that can be done by any producer around the world, including Grumo Media.
Yeah.
And if it's a live action video, she needs to find somebody locally through one of these websites that you mentioned, like Production Hub or Turn Here. It also depends on the budget, right? I mean, if you have a lot of money, then there's agencies that you can hire that can do amazing things. So now there's important to distinguish, and I found that this actually in one of my recent projects, between a typical explainer video and a mission type video. We actually did a series of 3 videos for a company in Seattle called Index, and it's a product search engine. And the first 2 videos were consumer-facing one, a business-to-business facing one, and then the last one was a mission video. And we were trying to apply the same concepts of that you would use on an explainer video, and they just don't fit. It's a different template. It's a different structure. So a mission video is not about explaining how a product works. It's about selling the culture of a company or what they stand for. Obviously, what their mission is, right? So there's a different, I don't know how you say it, a different animal altogether, right? And there where the difficulty is on one of those videos is on really distilling that message. You know, like what does your company stand for, in a way that you're very very honest to what your mission is, and that's tricky, and that actually takes a lot more work at the script development stage. So executing that in terms of animation is not technically more difficult, but it involves a lot more time and thinking when you're writing the script. There's a lot much more at stake, I would say, when you're just talking about your entire company, what you stand for. So the message is tricky to come. At least in our case, we found that it was not. It was a challenge.
Yeah, see, this is more, Lindsay, this is kind of where I think live video really lends itself to this type of video. I do a lot of corporate video, and I always sit down with the CEO or with any of the executives, and we'll have them on camera, and they'll be talking, with the side of their face on the camera, and they'll be conveying the culture and the way that their company works from the inner workings, and that's kind of what you're basically describing. And so I would 100% suggest to go, in my eyes at least, the live route, only because it just lends itself to that.
I totally agree, and in fact, I remember insisting that they go the live action route, and I don't know why they didn't go. Oh, okay. Actually, they did end up shooting a live action video, but they also wanted a mission type video. So they ended up having both, just to be able to choose.
And I think it's most powerful too when you have that CEO or that that executive that's sitting right there telling the audience.
It's so much more powerful when you see that person sitting in their office and addressing directly the audience, saying, "I am the CEO of this company. This is what we stand for." Blah blah blah.
Right. Correct. So we're getting a couple of inquiries again, just to answer the question. You guys will be getting an email invite for the replay tomorrow morning. So don't worry if you just caught the tail end, if you just stepped into the event. We are wrapping up. However, we are going to be giving you a replay first thing in the morning. Check your emails, and you can watch this thing from the start. There's a lot of rambling, there's a lot of jokes, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. So make sure to watch it and make sure to watch out for it. And again, finally, for those of you who are just tuning in, we are pretty much wrapping up. But I do want to share with you. Oh, you can see that. I do want to share with you guys one more time, for those who missed it, our special offer that we're giving everybody. and that is from Cinephonics. They are offering you guys the ability to download 2 months of free music, absolutely free, for your company, for your demo videos. And I'm trying to pull up that code. I'm going to type it in the box, guys. It's Grumo, Grumo Content Creators Lounge.
Yeah, so Grumo with capital letter, the first letter, and then lowercase RUMO, and then CCL in capital letters. Yeah.
Correct. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's just about it. I see we have. That's it. We've gone through just about all the questions. I did want to touch on something that one question we got via email, and it's a couple of them. A couple of you guys are authors or trying to create. You're trying to create book trailers for your books. And so one of the questions you guys had was, which one would be better for my book? Would it be doing a live video, or would it be better to do an animation video? And Miguel, in your opinion, what do you think would be a better, more impactful video for someone doing a book trailer?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one, because I've seen successful examples of both. I remember this book by Tim Ferriss. It was called The 4-Hour Work Habit or something. I forgot what it was. But it was basically a live-action video where you can see him in different places doing different stuff. It was very successful.
You mean the 4-Hour Work Week?
Not the 4-Hour Work Week. One of the sequels to that thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
4-Hour Body or something like that.
Right, he has so many. Actually, I know exactly the video you're talking about. He did do a 4-Hour Body or something where he taught you how to become more fit.
Yeah, it was him, and it was actually very well produced. So I don't know how much money he paid for it, but that was a really good example of a good book trailer. But I've seen also book trailers which are, I mean, it depends again the budget. So if you want something simple, then you could just hire a freelancer and do some motion graphics. You can even use Keynote as well. Make sure you have a good scan of your cover, and then kind of introduce the book that way. So you could go either way.
Yeah, this one's tricky because it can be really effective, or you could fall on your face if you do it the wrong way. So let me give you guys a few for those of you who had the question. There are a couple of, I've done quite a few of these before. Some of them have gone great, and some of them are just rough because of the budget. Here are 3 quick examples that you can do. One would be like Miguel just said, doing somewhat of a keynote presentation. I would suggest hiring a really good voiceover. So have somebody online from one of the platforms we talked about earlier, hire them to read a couple of paragraphs or maybe a whole page, a synopsis of your book. Right, and then in Keynote you can showcase the cover, you can showcase some of the artwork for your book if you have that. So that's one way to go. The second one would be to hire some actual actors. And I did a project where I hired a few really mediocre actors, and we shot a very decent, very complex promo for this video, for this book trailer, and it came out okay. It came out average, but looking back a few years later, I thought, I think it would have been better to spend a little bit more on a budget for maybe professional actors. You want to convey the story the right way rather than having mediocre actors. And if you have mediocre actors and you're trying to sell your book, sometimes it can come off kind of cheesy. So you got to be careful with that. So the third route that I would give you would be to, God, it's hard to suggest. If it can be done properly, maybe take a voiceover and read a chapter and try to find a multitude of different movies or maybe some trailers you've seen online. If you can attain some movie trailers or some actual physical films that kind of relay the way your story is conveying or the same type of story, then you can put your voiceover on top of those movie trailers that people already know about, or those movies that people already know about, and then it can almost feel like you're telling the story of all these different movies, right? It's almost like a remix, like a trailer remix of multiple movies. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, Miguel?
I'm so you're saying actually taking chunks of existing trailers and doing like a
mashup.
Like a mashup, but
yes.
Wouldn't you get into trouble by using?
Well, it It's not because they're not really going to be. Well, that's a good question. I've seen a lot of people do this effectively. As
Oh,
far as the legality behind it, I don't know because it's not like you're trying to rip off that movie in itself, and that isn't. That's probably not the best advice to give you guys, but I'm just going to tell you what I know, and that's one of the effective methods I've seen, and that would be best done. I mean, I'm going to be completely transparent here. It would be best done just not to get so you won't get like sued if you're giving away a free ebook on Amazon or you're not profiting, right? I think that's when they're most effective.
well, I
But
have once. I just saw one of my friends who has zero video skills create a pretty good trailer for this website I'm helping to do in Spain. And he just used iMovie, and it comes with trailer templates. So you can kind of customize the movie trailer from iMovie and insert there your book content or messages. And I think you can do that really quickly, and it come out pretty professionally. So that's another option right there.
definitely. So there's multiple ways to go about it. You have to get creative. And back to the movie thing, if you can obtain those files, that's one thing. If your book is free, it's another thing. Be careful. I'm not going to advise to do that, but I'm just telling you the different options that are out there. Okay, but yeah, that's a great one. In fact, iMovie has so many different templates for trailers. If you guys can obtain a copy of that, I would highly advise to check it out too, because it's really simple to use.
Yeah.
But hopefully that answers your question, guys. I know Kirk, you were one of the people that had the question. You have a book that's teaching people how to do, I think, how to create video or something of that nature. And again, going back to giving a voiceover, and maybe I guess a good caveat to that would be to go into like videohive.net, for instance. We listed it earlier. Go onto that website. They have a lot of stock video footage on there that you can purchase for real cheap, like super cheap. And you can get clips of people at their desk. You can get clips of people out in the wilderness, whatever. And you can just put those things together, piece them together in your editing software, get a really great voiceover, and piece together what would be a trailer for your book. That might be the best alternative to actually shooting one. You never even have to leave your computer, actually. So again, videohive.net, that's one I've used personally. Great stock footage on there, and you can really put together something with minimal effort. So hopefully that answers your question there, Kirk. Okay, Miguel?
All right.
Got anything else to say, man?
I love you all.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around with us. I know we are just a wealth of information here, and we tend to go overboard. We're clearly over our time, and we apologize for that, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, you'll be getting an email with the replay, so please feel free to ask questions as you get that email as you're watching this. And for those of you who are ready for bed, good night. Have a great evening. For those of you who are just waking up, have a great day. Miguel, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Everybody, thanks for watching, and future people watching this, thank you for watching it too.
Again, guys, this is Miguel Hernandez. Follow him on Twitter at GrumoMigs. Is that how you say it? GrumoMigs?
Yeah, GrumoMix or GrumoMedia at GrumoMedia too. It's also a handle I have. So yeah, either, yeah.
Perfect. And again, guys, I'm John Acosta. For those of you who don't know me, I run the Content Creators Lounge. We teach people how to do effective video production, live video, as well as video marketing. So if you guys want to check us out there, contentcreatorslounge.com. We have some pretty cool content there too. All right, Miguel, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.